background here, no matter where you are, no matter what part of the world you're in. I hope that you are having a delightful day. You probably hear my heat on in the background. I just wanted to come on here kind of quick. It might not be quick. I don't know if it's going to be quick. I'm going to do my best to make it quick. It's going to have to be quick. But anyhow, I hear a lot of women be shamed or guilted or blamed for being single, right? And because most men can't understand the fact that a lot of women want to be single or are single by choice, they think it's a lie, right? And they think that we're making it up, or, we're just saying that because, again, most men can't be by themselves. Especially those who have mommy issues and daddy issues, and they didn't grow up with love and the proper attention, the structure and order that they should have to be well-balanced and well-functioning adults, right? Not that that can't happen in a single-parent household, but it usually does not, right? Usually there's still a void there. Even if there's a stepfather, an uncle, or somebody else who steps in, there's still a void there. And I'm not really sure how to get people to understand that you may have done your best, and you did a good job, and nobody's trying to take that away from you. But unfortunately, that person still has a void because you're not that person's biological parent. And so I hear a lot of people try to give people advice who have never had some of these experiences. And I tell my story not because I'm just, trying to share my trauma, because I feel that it can help someone, because there are other people who have been through the same or similar situations. So his father was killed when he was like 29 years old. He was like 4, I think. And then he had 2 older sisters and a younger brother. So basically, they grew up without a father. When he became an adult, I saw him behave aggressively towards my Nana because, again, he had no balance of a father growing up to say, don't talk to your mother like that. Then, I had my child. I raised him. I did have help. His biological father was upset because he thought that, he could tell me everything that I wanted to hear. And once I got pregnant, that he basically had me where he wanted me and he can do whatever he wanted to do. But I'm not that type of woman. And people can do whatever they want to do. I'm not mad at that. But I'm not going to sit around and deal with you, deal with it, or deal with you doing whatever you want to do, because I don't have to. Nobody has to. And I think that, a lot of times people get this wrong. Yes, a lot of our great-grandparents, grandparents, they stayed, right? My great-grandparents, they had a great relationship. And so that was my foundation. From birth to 5 years old, I was always around my great-grandparents. From like 1 to 7 or 1 to 9, that's the foundation of who you are and who you become as an adult. That doesn't change. That foundation from birth to 7, it never changes. And so people can give you all the advice they want until they're blue in the face. You already have a foundation. And what worked for other people, or the advice that someone else may have for you, may not work for you, because, again, you have a different foundation. And I know sometimes people get upset when you don't take their advice. That's a bit narcissistic, because nobody has to take your advice. Who are you? Are you God? No. Nobody has to take your advice, because people can listen to you and apply it if they want to, or apply it if they feel like it would be beneficial to them. But if they don't feel that it would be beneficial to them and they don't want to apply it, they don't have to. And again, what worked for you may not work for someone else. Again, going back to what I said before, I did have help raising my son. it was kind of unintentional. I was never looking for a father for my son. I always felt like my son had a father, although he, again, did not want to be bothered because I did not fall in line and do what he wanted to do, which was be a submissive and docile woman who doesn't say anything while he runs the street and does whatever he wants to do. Again, I'm not that type of woman. But you can do whatever you want to do, just not on my dime. So, the guy who, good, how are you? You as well, thank you, love. So, the guy who stepped in to be the father to... So, this is how it happened. I was dating him. We met, we started talking, we started dating. I introduced him to my grandmother because introducing him to my mom turned out to be a disaster, but that's a whole nother story. But my mom has a very jealous spirit. She never got married. She never had a successful relationship, so she doesn't want to see anyone else have one. So that's how that kind of goes. Anyway, I introduced him to my son, who was 4 at the time. Hello, I'm good. How are you? Good. Have a good day. So I introduced him to my son, and their relationship started by playing video games together. And that was fine. But he would, my ex, he would spend the night at my house. He was at my house like every day. And he would spend the night, and he would like leave like 5 o'clock in the morning before my son woke up. Well, obviously this particular day, my son must have woke up before that, because he woke him up and asked for him. He was like, where's so-and-so? And I was like, oh, well, doesn't make sense to try to lie about it and hide it now, because he already knows. So, so that's how that, relationship. Now, within that year, I realized he was not the right person for me. The first thing that made me realize that was him saying, you were stupid for having a baby. Now, at this point, I do realize he said that because that was his fear and insecurities and, being mustered up within him. And, so, I just took it for what it was. I take it for what it is, what it was now. But at the time, that really hurt my feelings. Like, you don't tell somebody that they're stupid for having a child. The child is innocent. You can't take the child back. And, maybe, it wasn't a good decision. I think I did believe my son's father when he said he was going to marry me. And so, it wasn't a good decision on my behalf. I should have made him marry me first. Or if I had waited, I would have just broken up with him and we, would have never went through any of it. But, when you grow up in a single parent household and you don't get the proper love, you look for love outside. And sometimes those choices are not good because no one ever taught you to make good choices. And so again, if someone who grew up in a 2-parent household is trying to give advice to someone who grew up in a single parent household, not understanding their traumas, not understanding what that feels like, because you can never, if you did not grow up that way, unless you had so for some people who grew up with both parents in the household, but you had one parent who was always at work, so they didn't establish any type of emotional connection with the child, it could be the same feeling, although that parent was there. They still didn't meet the needs of the child in the way that the child needed to be met. Kids need love. Kids need attention. They don't just need bills paid. Kids don't know anything about bills being paid. They just know whether or not you love them and whether or not they can feel that love. And it could be quality time, acts of service, gifts, words of affirmation. These are your love languages. Those are 4 of the 5 love languages. So again, as I've said before, if a person gives you a gift and they need words of affirmation, although they may appreciate the gift, their needs are still not being met because you're not affirming them. And that's what they need. And that's what they want. And so again, it's hard for somebody, regardless of age, because I feel like you can learn from anybody from birth to 100. But it's hard for you to dig your heels in the sand and say, oh, well, this is the gospel because of what I've been through, when you don't know what that other person has been through. Love y'all. Later.